Online shopping is booming, and so is online fraud. Payments company Bolt recently announced a strategic partnership with digital identity company Socure to strengthen Bolt ID, its checkout identity layer designed to verify real people at the moment of purchase. Joining me now is Johnny Ayers, founder and CEO of Socure, and Justin Grooms, president of Bolt. Gentlemen, welcome to NYSE Live.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Johnny, what problem is this partnership solving in terms of identity and fraud at checkout?
Yeah, merchants today are stuck between two bad choices. Do you approve more transactions? Do you accept higher fraud losses? Or do you tighten controls and lose legitimate customers? And so with retail sales topping almost 1.2 trillion and fraud losses expected to surpass $100 billion, this partnership between Socure and Bolt is really finding the perfect balance between the two.
All right, Justin, what is Bolt ID and how does adding Socure impact the checkout experience?
Yeah, thank you. Bolt ID is an identity layer that helps us to identify over 85 million American consumers that are going through high-value digital transactions and tie those digital identities that have historically been separate from individuals' real identities as humans to that human, so that we can say this is the actual human being, this is the device that they're using, and we can transfer that trust and certainty to a merchant seamlessly and without additional steps.
All right, and Johnny, how big of a problem is this synthetic identity fraud, and are older verification tools keeping up in combating it?
Yeah, absolutely. Synthetic fraud is the fastest growing type of fraud on the internet today, totaling about 20 billion of that 100 billion in annual losses. And it's particularly nefarious because it's not actually a real identity. And so for us, attacking synthetic identity really takes a 360-degree view of device, geolocation, email ownership, phone verification, and really signals about everything we know about a consumer or a transaction to attack this really fast-growing type of fraud.
And how, Johnny, can this fraud impact people? Like what types of things are happening?
Yeah, unfortunately, it can result in credit card losses. It can result in bad credit hitting their bureau report. There's a number of ways. Unfortunately, folks can end up on bad lists if they end up having too many disputed transactions. And so, for consumers having their identity stolen or their identity manipulation, this is one side of the problem. The other is, in order to stop fraud, merchants need to add friction. And so the less accurate your fraud capabilities are, unfortunately, the more friction consumers have to experience. And so we're really excited to partner with Bolt ID here to be able to enable this perfect balance between finding user experience, speed, and fraud reduction. And that's really exactly what this partnership is solving.
And Justin, how does this partnership help reduce risk without slowing down the customer at checkout?
Yeah, it's a great question. What's so important to what we're doing is pulling data from the background, pulling information about the consumer's device, the networks that they're engaging with, but also looping in the consumer when we know the device or where they might be and can confirm with them that they really are part of a transaction. But what's so important is that when we are putting fraud steps in place to prevent fraud, we need to do it in a way that isn't going to incentivize the consumer to try to bypass it or use a different tool. Our merchants are so reluctant to add friction, like Johnny was talking about, that they will accept a certain amount of fraud. The real loser in some of this fraud, from our perspective, is the consumer themselves. When fraud goes through, if you're flagged as being a higher fraud risk consumer, you're steered towards higher cost financial instruments, higher cost credit cards, other types of payment methods. So you end up paying more for those consumer goods that you were so intent on going out and getting, even if you're an honest actor.
All right, and Johnny, Socure's identity intelligence is used by major banks and big tech firms. Why is that same level of verification now so important for everyday e-commerce?
Yeah, I think Justin touched on this a little bit. We're trying to deliver delightful consumer experiences. And so our unified intelligence layer powered by Socure's identity graph and RiskOS platform really enables us to bring this foundation of trusted identity to commerce. We can reduce cost, we can reduce complexity, we can reduce risk all at once. And historically, most merchants have tried to stitch together this kind of fragmented view of different vendors that handle identity for one thing, fraud for another, authentication for another, compliance for another. And the unification, the bringing of our decade of experience solving this in the most complex markets is really going to enable us in partnership with Bolt ID to really transform everyday commerce for the average consumer.
And Justin, in our last minute together, Bolt has built a large network of merchants and shoppers. How does plugging in Socure's identity data strengthen that entire network?
Yeah, so this is something that Bolt's been doing for over a decade. It's continuously improving the checkout and identity experience to keep up with what is state of the art, and actually, I would say, lead what is state of the art in this space. What's so important is that for hundreds and hundreds of the largest merchants in the United States that use Bolt to power the back end of their checkout, and for the 80 plus million American consumers that have Bolt accounts and use Bolt to check out and buy things online with these trusted merchants, they're going to get an enhanced amount of security, identity verification, reduced fraud. But what they won't get is any additional friction or the need to install or download any new tools online to use it. They're going to have a seamless experience that allows them to verify their identity in a very secure way and then access even more financial instruments and financial tools at lower costs without any additional friction. We think it's a huge win-win for everyone.
All right. Thank you, Johnny Ayers, founder and CEO of Socure, and Justin Grooms, president of Bolt, for joining us on NYSE Live.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.